Okay, so here we are in the breeding shed, and we're pretty much done for the year. This is my little orphan baby. You can see she's a little mucky from being hand-fed. She's out here with the big birds, though, and she is just taking forever to decide to grow up. She's over 6 weeks old now, and she still wants to be hand-fed all the time. And the boss is getting darn tired of it. This is James Bond, who is not feeling well. He has a bum leg, you can see. And this is his baby girl, who was not feeling well, but she's looking a lot better, so I'm going to put her back out. She is another French molt baby that is clearly growing back all of her feathers. You can see the tips of her new feathers coming out there. Little one here has started losing all of her feathers. I'm glad she caught it late because she'll be able to fight it off. But she has lost her all of her primary flights but one. You can see it back here. She turned around. Come here, Diddy Boo. See that one? Lost her feather. And she's gonna, and she still has her tail feathers, but we'll see what happens. So they're okay. Breezy is down here. This poor girl has been sick forever. I'm giving her a course of antibiotics. If it doesn't make her feel better, I will probably put her down because she's just been sick for so long and I can't figure out what's wrong with her and she's suffering. So, on a more happy note, I have babies. This is Mercury. Katesh is his girl. I pulled her and he's raising out the chicks out the rest of the way on his own. And we got one little recessive pied that looks just like her mama. She's very pretty. Yes, she is. And we got one fat little cobalt who doesn't look like anybody, but he's very cute. Look at how fat that baby is. And one little gray-green that looks just like Daddy. He looks like Daddy. He's your fat little friend. And they are in and out of the nest. You can see I have the liner up so they can walk on the ground, bottom of the cage, and they're starting to eat on their own. They're going to go out here sometime in the next 4 to 6 days. Then over here you have Poseidon, and his hen was pulled, and he has finished raising his chicks. They're a little younger. That's Poseidon. He's a clear flight pied, and I bred him myself, and he's very handsome. And we got one regular blue baby and one clear flight pied baby. And these are fat little babies too. They're a little younger than the others. Hi, little baby. You can see that none of these have the French molt yet. It seems to have kind of died down, and these last few nests never seem to have been affected by it, but they'll probably pick it up when they go out in the big flight cage. Look at those clear flights on that baby. Isn't he pretty? I think the clear flight's a boy like Daddy, and the clear one, and the other one is a girl. Their mama was a big, beautiful hen, the high value that I picked up from another breeder that had tried to breed her, and she had never produced a fertile egg for him. So I was like, well, you know, whenever somebody tells me that a hen is infertile, I always start asking questions, because 99% of the time it's the cocks that have gone infertile. And they're blaming the wrong bird. So I asked him, he said, yes, all of her eggs, she lays eggs, all of them have yolks in them, they just never develop. So I brought her here and put her with, put her through quarantine and everything, and then she seemed to kind of like Poseidon out in the flight cage, so I put them together. And it took her forever. I never saw her go in the nest box, and then I finally figured out she jumps out of the nest box every time I show up. Because what I did was I snuck over here really quietly and opened the door without making any noise, and she was in the nest box and sitting in it. So it turned out that her problem was she didn't think the nest box was a safe place, and she was probably letting her eggs go cold, so they never developed. So I was very patient, and what I did was I would sneak in here and go, and then be really quiet so she wouldn't jump out, and then let her discover that I was in here and not messing with her. And I never opened that nest box, ever, when she was in it, so that she would start to feel that it was a safe place. And she laid 2 eggs right in a row, and they never developed because she jumped off of them. But by the time she got to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th egg, she actually started sitting on them and staying in the box even when I was here. The 3rd egg did not hatch, it fizzled, so she probably jumped off that one too at some point. But the last 2 eggs both developed all the way and hatched. She got to raise her first set of babies successfully. And then I had to go pull her because she was getting ready to flip. But she's sitting out in the big flight cage, and when I put Poseidon and the 2 babies out there, she will recognize them, and she will start pick up caring for her babies again and flirting with her man. So that was a happy ending. But really interesting. I've never had a hen that was not confident that her nest box was secure. And it was causing her to come off as though she was infertile. So, and my last pair, this is Kronos and Ariel. Kronos is, for those of you who've been around for a while, he is Matilda and Izod's son. And Ariel is Marine son with Stratus. They're both split to dilute, and I'm looking for a dilute chick from them. And she got a bunch of fat little babies. Let me put some light in here. Oh, you'll have to let me see you now. Where's your babies? Scoot, scoot. There they are. So a bunch of fat little babies, and you see that big one with the all white down? I believe that is going to be a dilute. Happy day. They all have their bands on. They're fat, sassy, not showing any signs of illness. So I think the French molt has kind of run its course. And these babies will probably pick it up when I put them out in the flight cage, because there are birds out there that still are probably shedding virus. But that's okay, because I want them to get the immunities. So that is the breeding shed update. We're almost empty here. These 2 older sets of chicks will be out by the end of the week. These guys are laggarts, and when I realized I had French molt, I had just set up a bunch of birds, like 7 pairs, and I've turned around and broke down all the pairs that didn't have any fertile eggs in the nest yet, and these 2 were the only ones that still had fertile eggs, and I wasn't going to break them up, so I left them, and they're my trailing babies. So that does mean that I did not get to breed 6 pairs this spring, and in the fall I don't know what I'm going to do, because I'm going to have a lot of birds that need to get bred. So I guess I'll jump that hurdle when I get to it. Okay, that's the update.